My students, welcome to the class. So today we will going to discuss the crystal fluid splitting energy and the various factors which are affecting that. So we already discussed the various examples in VBT and CFT and geometry of molecules in case of tetrahedral, octahedral and square planar complexes. Now the splitting of the d orbital can happen in three ways. Number one is the octahedral manner, where either you will have an inner orbital octahedral or you have an outer orbital octahedral. Then you can have the splitting in tetrahedral manner, where you will have sp3 rotation. And then double splitting happens in square planar complex to give you either dsp2 or sp2d geometry. Everyone knows that octahedral, tetrahedral and square planar complexes, they have their stereochemistry. Okay, octahedral can exist as various types of isomers, that is called as ionization isomers, hydrate isomers, ligand isomers. Then you have coordinate isomers, then geometrical isomers and optical isomers. Tetrahedral never shows you the geometrical isomerism. Similarly, square planars do not gives you the geometry of optical activity. Square planar will give you geometrical activity but not the optical activity. So there are various factors which affects the value of the crystal field stabilization energy or crystal field splitting energy. The number one factor is the nature of the ligand. What is that? Nature of the ligand. The value of the CFSC depends upon the nature of the ligand. The ligand which causes only a small degree of CFSC are termed as weak field ligands, while those ligands which are called large splitting are called strong field ligands. Okay, the common ligands can be arranged in ascending order according to the manner in which they are able to split the d orbitals. This series remains practically constant for different metals and is known as spectrochemical series. It is an experimental determinant series. The order is determined to explain due to the involvement of both sigma and pi bonding. So it means that not only sigma bonding, the pi bonding also taken into consideration while writing the ligands in a spectrochemical series. Okay, now the ligands like iodide, bromide, sulfide, thiocyanato, chlorido, nitride, fluoro, they are very weak ligands. Urea, hydroxy, oxalato, then you have oxide, then peroxide, water, isothiocyanato, EDTA, pyridine, ammonia, ethylene diamine, sulfide, diphenyl, then you have nitrite, then you have methyl, phenyl, cyanide and carbon monoxide. So you can see that here carbon monoxide, like they are strong ligands. Generally, the order depends upon the donor atom. Carbon donor is better than a nitrogen donor, and nitrogen donor is better than an oxygen donor, and oxygen donor is better than a halogen. I am repeating once more to you, that is very very important to you. Carbon donor is better than the nitrogen donor. Nitrogen donor better than the oxygen donor. Oxygen donor better than the halogen. So this thing you have to keep in your mind. This is called spectrochemical series. Okay, so you have to memorize that which ligands are strong ligands and which ligands are weak ligands. For weak ligands, the CFC will be low. For weak ligands, CFSC will be low, and for the strong ligand, CFSC will be high. Now, generally, the order depends upon the donor atom. I already told you that is carbon donor better than hydrogen donor, better than oxygen donor, better than the halogen donor. Next is about the geometry of the complex. Tetrahedral splitting is approximately 4 by 9 times that of octahedral. It means tetrahedral geometry involves lower CFSC value, while octahedral involve higher CFSC value. The lower value of tetrahedral is due to the lesser number of ligands in the tetrahedral complex. Also, in tetrahedral complexes, the orbitals do not point it towards the axis, so they are less interaction. What do you mean by that? It means that in case of octahedral complex, the ligand approach the metal ion through the axis, while in case of tetrahedral complex, the ligand approach the metal atom in between the axis. That's why it is written that the orbitals do not point towards the axis, so there is less interaction. So when the ligands have less interaction with the metal atom, definitely there will be what? There will be less splitting of the orbitals. Less interaction means less repulsion as well as less attraction. Now you can easily see that in case of square planar complex, what happens? The splitting happens 2 times. I already discussed with you in the previous 2-3 classes that how square planar splitting happens. You have to memorize that and draw it 3-4 times so that you have a pretty much adjustance to or pretty much efficient to draw the word splitting. I am repeating once more, you should be efficient enough to draw the splitting in a very fast manner. So square planar splitting is equal to 1.4 times the octahedral CFSC. So the energy in square planar complex is very high. One in case of tetrahedral complex, the splitting is 4 by 9 times the splitting of the octahedral wide. So what is the order here? SP stands for square planar, O stands for octahedral, and T stands for tetrahedral. Now in case of that, what happens? In case of square planar complex, the splitting is very large. And what has happened here? The energy level is very, very large. Next is about the oxidation state of the metal. So it indicates what? It indicates that higher the oxidation charge on the central metal atom means higher the oxidation, more will be the CFC. Why it is so? Because in CFSC, the ligand is taken as a pointed charge or taken as a dipolar ion or a dipolar molecule. Now when it interacts with a metal cation, then higher the charge with the metal cation, more interaction it will have. Why? Because definitely according to if the attraction is like electrostatic, it will be charge on cation into charge on anion divided by the distance square. So it means that higher the charge on the cation, more will be the interaction with the negatively charged or neutral ligand. So what do you observe that in case of ferric, now there Fe3 plus is iron plus 2 state, iron plus 2 state, and iron plus 3 state. So what is observed that octahedral splitting in case of iron existing in plus 3 state is more than that of iron existing plus 2 state. So you can say that hexa aqua iron 3 has more CFSC value than hexa aqua iron 2. Similarly, if you have hexa aqua cobalt 2 and hexa aqua cobalt 3, definitely in case of cobalt 3, the CFSC value is higher. Similarly, in case of hexa aqua vanadium 2 is greater than that of what? Hexa aqua chromium 3 plus. The reason being that effective nuclear charge. Similarly, chromium plus 3, chromium plus 3 has greater CFSC than chromium plus 2. Here you can see that hexa chromium 3 has CFSC value 217, while in case of chromium 2 plus the CFSC value is 167 kilojoule per mole. Similarly, in that case, hexacyanidopyrrate 3 has more CFC than hexacyanidopyrrate 2. So here iron in plus 2 state, here iron in plus 3 state. So in plus 3 state, the CFSC value will be large and will be more effective. Now next is about the nature of the metal iron. Now the value of CFSC also depend upon the transition series to which the metal belongs. The order is 3D greater than 4D greater than 5D. So the value of CFSC increases by 30 to 50% from 3D to 4D and then from 4D to 5D. Are you getting that now? So the metal of 4D and 5D series have more tendency to form low spin complexes. Why it is so? Because electrons got paired up because of high CFSC value. Because when CFSC is greater than the pairing energy, pairing of electron takes place. So CFSC has followed the order. Cobalt belongs to 3D series, rhodium belongs to 4D series, and iridium belongs to 5D series. Now all of them are in the same group. Okay. All will have how much? D4 configuration in all these cases. D6 configuration in all the cases. When you have D6 configuration in all the cases, that is of cobalt, rhodium and iridium, then you can see that although configuration is D6 in all of them, but iridium being 5D, it has got the highest value of CFSC, while cobalt with the D6 will have the lowest value of CFC if the ligand is same. And in this case, ligand is same, that is ammonia. So first case is hexamine cobalt 3, second case is hexamine rhodium 3, and third case is hexamine iridium 3. Now 3D got less CFSC than 4D, and 4D got less CFSC value than 5D. So you can say that 5D got the highest value of CFSC. So when the two metal ion having same charge but different number of d electron, the magnitude of delta decreases with the increase in number of central metal ion. I am repeating once more to you. When two metal ions have the same charge but they have different number of d electrons, okay, then the magnitude of octahedral splitting decreases with the increase in d electron. For example, cobalt 2 plus and nickel 2 plus, so charge is same, but cobalt has electron d7 while nickel has electrons 8, that is 3d8. So number of electrons are more in nickel. So definitely there will be lesser CFSC value in case of nickel than in case of cobalt. So that must be kept in your mind. What you have to kept in your mind? You have to kept in your mind that if the charge is same, then if you have the lesser number of d electron, then you have CFSC value higher. Now next thing we have to understand is the application of the CFT. How does the application of CFT is used? First is to determine the electronic configuration of the metal in a given complex. Then magnetic behavior of the complex, then you have the color of the complex, then you have stability of the complex, and then the stereochemistry of the complex. On all these factors, CFT plays a very important role. Okay, for example, whether ligand is weak or poor, whether metal carry high charge or matter belongs to which transition series, all these factors when determine the CFT values, definitely then CFT also determines that how it is going to be pairing will occur or not, the electron residing in which type of orbitals, whether in T2G level or at the EG levels. So it will determine the splitting between the two d orbitals. So splitting means that when the light falls on that, the color of the complex is due to dd transition. So if CFC is large, it means a higher wavelength, or a lower wavelength of high energy level is required to cause the dd transition. Similarly, the magnetic property also depends upon the number of unpaired electron. So more the number of unpaired electron, more will be the magnetic character of the complex. Okay, and similarly, if CFC value is high, it means stability is also high. And stereochemistry means what? Stereochemistry means that whether the octahedral is inner or outer, or the compound is what? Or the compound can show tetrahedral and square, because if the quadrature number is 4, then square planar can show the geometrical isomerism, but tetrahedral will not show you. So here you can pinpoint that whether the stereochemistry of the complex, what will be the answer. Now look at the first property, that is the electronic configuration. Now first consider D1 configuration. Now in D1 configuration, electrons, it does not depend upon why, because whatsoever the splitting between these two levels, okay, the electron will definitely come to T2G level. Similarly, if you have D2, then also it is same. So both for strong ligand and weak ligand, you got the same configuration. Both for the strong ligand and weak ligand, you will get a same. Similarly, both for every type of metal ion or every type of ligand, you will get the same type of what? Same type of the electronic distribution. But when you have 4 electron, like in this case, then you can have two different set of configurations. If it is weak field ligand, the pairing energy is greater than the octahedral splitting, then no pairing will happen and all the 4 electron will remain unpaired. But if CFSC is large, then it will cause the pairing of electrons. So what will happen? One electron will go from here to here. So here it happens. So in this case, what happens? In this case, 4 electrons are unpaired. In this case, only 2 electrons are unpaired. So here T2G4 and here it is T2G3 EG1. So in this case, all the 4 electron goes to the T2G level. But here in this case, what can happen? One electron goes to the T2G level, the other goes to the EG level. Are you getting that in your mind or not? Are you sure? Now look at the D5 configuration now. In D25, if the ligand is poor, then it is what? If the ligand is poor, then it is T2G3 EG2. So what is CFSC in this case? It is minus 0.4 into 3 plus 0.6 into 2. So answer will be minus and plus 1.2. So the answer will be 0. But if the ligand is strong, here it is strong ligand, it is written D5 strong ligand. So in case of D5 strong ligand, what will happen? In case of D5 strong ligand, all the electron will go to the T2G level and EG level will remain 0. So what is CFC here? Minus 0.4 into 5 plus 0. Why? Because there is no orbital in EG level, into 0.6. So answer will be, so here you can see what CFC here in the strong ligand is very, very large. So in D5 what happens? In case of D5 configuration, what will happen? In case of D5, two type of configuration are possible. Either it is T2G3 EG2, or it is T2G5. So where would you find? So definitely in this case only you will get more stability. Are you getting that in your mind now? Are you sure? Now take the example of D6. Now D6 in weak ligand here you will see, and in strong ligand this is D6. Are you getting that or not? So here what are you being observed? In case of D6, if weak ligand is there, then what is CFSC? CFC will be minus 0.4 into 4 plus 2 into 0.6. So my answer is 0.4 dq. Now what will happen in CFC here? It is strong ligand, then what will happen? Answer is minus 0.4 into 6 plus 0 into what? Plus 0 into 0.6. The answer will be minus 0.4 dq. So here you can easily see that CFSC in case of strong ligand, in case of what? Strong ligand is better than what? I am repeating once more. This is for strong ligand, T2G6. T2G6 for strong ligands, while T2G4 and EG2 is for what? Is for weak ligand. So definitely CFSC is what? Definitely CFSC value is greater in case of a strong ligand. Are you getting that in your mind now? Sure? I think I should tell you the general formula once more. What is CFSC value? It is minus 0.4 into number of electron in T2G level plus 0.6 into number of electron in EG level. Okay, so by using that you can find out what? The crystal field splitting energy value. Are you okay with that now? Are you sure? Very much sure. Sorry. Now if you look at the D7 configuration, what you are observing? You are observing here, in case of strong ligand it is T2G EG1, in weak ligand T2G5 EG2. So you calculate here. When you calculate, in case of weak ligand the value is minus 0.8, while in case of strong ligand the value is minus 1.8 dq. So definitely minus 1.8 in magnitude is more than that of minus 0.28. So potential energy of the system got more lowered in case of what? Strong ligand. So here means what? The electronic configuration of the metal ion in a complex can be determined by knowing the value of CFSC also. That how much stability is able to show. Okay, So electronic configuration of the substance can also be determined, whether it is the okay. So this thing you have to keep in your mind. For D8, D9 and D10, you can easily see that configuration is same whether it is strong ligand or weak ligand. I am repeating once more. For D8, D9 and D10 configuration, I am repeating once more. For D8, D9 and D10 configuration, the value comes out to be same because distribution of electron is also same. For D10, whether it is weak or strong, the answer is T2G6 Eg2. Similarly, for strong also, the value is T2G6 Eg2. Similarly, for D9, it is T2G6 Eg3 and T2G6 Eg3 for both strong and weak ligand. Now, next is about its magnetic nature. The CFT also gives us the magnetic nature behavior of the substance. The transition metals complexes containing one or more unpaired electron possesses a definite value of magnetic moment. An unpaired electron, due to its spin, is equivalent to an electron current flowing in a circular conductor. Hence, it behaves like a magnet. We already discussed this in two topics, that is in atomic structure and in solid state. That value of mu is equal to that much. That is equal to 1 Bohr magneto, that is EH by 4 pi mc. The substances which are attracted by the external magnetic field are termed as paramagnetic substance. Most of the coordination substances are paramagnetic. The substances which do not have any unpaired electron or all the electrons are paired up, then they are able to show diamagnetic behavior. The complexes containing unpaired electrons are paramagnetic. On the other hand, if all the electrons are paired up, they are diamagnetic. Magnetic moment is given by under root of n plus 2 bm, where n stand for number of unpaired electron in the substance, and for diamagnetic substance the value is 0. The value is 0. The magnetic moment of a coordination compound are determined experimentally, and these data provide information to study the nature of coordination entity. Okay, and these measurements are known as magnetic susceptibility measurements. What they are called as magnetic susceptibility measurement. Now look at one example, that FeH2O, that is hexa aqua iron 2, is paramagnetic, while hexacyanidopyrrate 2 is diamagnetic. The reason being that in case of aqua complex, the CFT is very low. So when CFT is very low, when water is a complex, what can happen here? The CFS is low than that of pairing of electron. But when you have cyanide as a ligand, then in that case what happens? CFS is greater than the pairing energy. Okay, sure about that? So water is a weak ligand while cyanide is a strong ligand. So hexacyanidopyrrate is inner orbital low spin, while higher hexa aqua iron 2 is an outer orbital complex. Okay, sure about that or not? So if you look at here also, here you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 electrons are unpaired. 4 electrons are unpaired. These unpaired electron causes the paramagnetic behavior. So put n equal to 4 in the magnetic moment formula, you are getting that much value. While in case of hexacyanidopyrrate 2, it is a low spin complex. All the electrons got paired up. When electron get paired up, it is diamagnetic in nature. It is what? Diamagnetic in nature. Are you sure about that? Now look at the next example. Next example is hexafluorido cobaltate and hexaamine cobalt. So in cobaltate it is in +3, in cobalt also it is +3, but here the complex is anionic, here the complex is cationic. But that is not the case. Fluoride is a very weak field complex, while ammonia is a moderate strong, you can say, ligand. So what can happen in case of fluorine also? Now what is the confusion in case of CO3 plus? Okay, in case of CO3 plus, the configuration is what? It is about 3d6. So here all the electrons were unpaired because CFS is very low. When CFS is very low, no pairing happens. But in this case, pairing of electron takes place. Are you okay with that? So when pairing of electron takes place, then what happens? Due to that, it becomes diamagnetic in nature, and due to unpairing, it is paramagnetic in nature. Remember that D0 and D10, they always are diamagnetic. They are always diamagnetic. Remember that. In complex, d orbital splits into two sets, T2g and Eg sets. Okay, I am repeating once more. D orbital splits into T2g and Eg set, which have different energy levels. I think I already told you that. In that case, what happens? T2g got lower energy level and Eg got higher energy level. Okay, so what happens here in this case? So the difference in energies of T2g and Eg lies in the visible region. That is why transition metals complexes may absorb invisible region of spectra. Okay, so in the visible region no spectra is being absorbed. So when in visible region no spectra is being absorbed, no DD transition will happen. Okay, so when electron goes from T2g level to Eg level, during that transition only what happens? Color can be seen. So it makes them colored, and colored being complemented to the colored absorbed. So on, I am repeating once more, the color of the complex is due to DD transition. The electron from T2g orbital goes to the Eg level by absorbing energy. Are you getting that or not? This transition involves T2g and Eg set of orbitals and called as DD transition. The DD transition is responsible for the color of the transition metal complexes. In a few cases, charge transfer also happens. Like in case of what? Like in case of brown ring of nitrate ion test, or you have in case of sodium nitroprusside, in case of test of sulfide ion also, it happens like that. KMnO4, potassium dichromate, sodium nitroprusside, and in brown ring of nitrate, you have what? You have these some example in which no DD transition happens, but still substances are colored due to charge transfer. But in almost all the cases, the color is due to DD transition. That electron, by absorbing the light, goes from T2g level to the Eg level. Now look at that here. In the ground state, the electron is here. After absorbing the light, the electron goes there. So DD transition is possible from D1 to D9. Okay, and that is why such ion complexes are colored. On the other hand, D0, D10s, they can't show you DD transition. D0 and D10 can't show you what? DD transition. That's why Z0 and D10, all these complexes and compounds, they are colorless. They are what? Colorless compound. Now look at that, what is happening here. That the spectroscopy analysis offers the best mean of measuring the CFT splitting. Now titanium hexa aqua titanium 3 ion provides a simple example. Ti3 ion has 3D1 configuration. So it requires a wavelength of 498. It requires a what? So when splitting happens, what happens? The electron goes from this level to this level by absorbing 498 nanometer light. So you put that light here, you will get that much value. So the CFSE comes out to be 240 kilojoule, like that. This is for one photon or for one transition, and that is for Avogadro number of transition. So 240 kilojoule per mole is required in this complex. That is complex is hexa aqua titanium 3 to see the color. So what has happened? So on absorbing 240 kilojoule per mole, the electron can go from this to this. Okay, are you sure about that? So by absorbing the light, electron goes to the higher energy level, and when electron goes to the higher energy level, I am repeating once more, the electron goes from a T2G level to the EG level. So when electron goes from the T2G level to the EG level, by absorbing the light in the visible range, then only color can be seen. Look at here also. Now in this case, cobalt is the same central metal atom. The only difference being is the ligand. Now ligands are different here. So fluorine is a very weak ligand. Cyanide is one of the strongest ligand. So here you are observing what? A continued decrease in wavelength. A continuous decrease in wavelength means energy is increasing. Energy is increasing. Okay, means CFSC value is more and more. So here CFSC value increasing. CFSC value is increasing here, wavelength is decreasing. So it will absorb the red light but complementary green is color. It will absorb the yellow light, complementary green is color. It absorbs ultraviolet, complementary pale yellow is observed. So you can here see that this the energy absorbed or the wavelength absorbed is correspond to the CFSC, is correspond to the CFSC. For example, in here 700 nanometer is absorbed, here 310 nanometer is absorbed. It means energy required in hexacyanide is more, while energy required in hexafluoride is very less. So high energy means you will see a color or of the lower energy levels. So I am repeating once more, the color of the compound is due to DD transition in most of the cases. After absorbing the light, the electron from the lower T2G orbital goes to the higher EG level and electronic transition happens and the complementary color is being seen.